Chelsea,
Yeah.
can you tell me the turning point in your life that made you want to go for it musically?
Well, I don't know. Listening to music. Everybody, everybody listens to the first thing in their lives. Just live music, Beatles, Rolling Stones, like everybody else. Not Moby. Sorry. My biggest influence was a guy named Arthur Lee, in a group called Love. I really like them, and just watching these guys do it, playing rock and roll, girls going crazy. I said, I want to do that. So that was, I guess, that was a turning point in my life when I actually saw Cats. I saw a live show. You saw live rock and roll, live music playing loud with loud guitars, lots of tune, just the attitude on stage. I guess that was it.
What other artists do you respect, do you like, and why?
Well, like I said, Arthur Lee. When I was just, when I was just starting out, someone turned me on to that group called Love. It's called, and then later on, just some songwriters. Like to discover the radio, and I really got into artists, all different kinds of music. And I remember playing my first gig at. I was in a band. I played my first gig at the Foundation for the Junior Blind. They were all those little blind kids. I was working as a volunteer in my mid-teens, and I was helping the blind kids. And they said, "We're going to have a concert," and I said, "Can my band play?" So I got my band to play there, and we weren't doing original songs, but we were doing a lot of cover songs, and they loved it so much. They when they heard a song they recognized, they screamed. It was kind of like bloody Beatles. It was like they were going crazy. And I said, "Wow, that was great." I said, that was one of the turning points in my life when I said, they're screaming for this song. I want it to be my song that they're screaming for. So that's when I actually started writing. Songs, and I was writing poetry for a while when I was a kid. It just sort of was a logical step. And went on other artists. I really like Prefab Sprout, Patty McAloon. He's a really great songwriter. Elvis Costello. I love Leonard Bernstein, Elmer Bernstein. I love Elton John and Bernie Taupin. Joni Mitchell. There's just so many that you can't really name. There's up and coming cats, Ben Harper. I like Sting, actually. I really like his. I'll tell you something I don't really tell people, but when I first went to England, I had an idea for. This is before the Police. I had an idea of calling a band the Police. I thought, well, it'd be great to say I work for the police, and they go, what do you do? I play in a band. So I actually. A friend of mine that was in LA, I wrote him back saying, "Hey man, I'm gonna start this band called The Police." And he still to this day says, "Hey man, you remember that time you sent me that letter saying you're gonna form a band?" But anyway, Sting. I really, really appreciate Sting as a songwriter or singer. Voilà.
Why did you leave LA and leave for England? What were you in search of?
Well, like I said, I had a band, and my musicians were serious, but they weren't that serious, not as serious as I was, I wanted to, I don't know, I wanted to just go for it, just put my faith in my talent, and You know, just make it a serious move, you know, as opposed to just dabbling on the weekends or just jamming. And so it was funny. I was supposed to. I bought a ticket round trip, good for 2 weeks. It cost me, you know, so many dollars. And I was going to leave at the beginning of December, and it kept canceling it. It got canceled to the second week in December, and then it got canceled to the third week in December. And I got really frustrated, so I called around another airlines, you know, and I found out that I could stay for a year with, if paying just a little bit more, I could stay a round trip for a year instead of 2 weeks, you know. So I quickly changed my ticket. I took that bargain, you know, and yeah. I mean, it was great. But I had to leave by the end of the year, before the new year. So by the time I did the change, it was Christmas, and you know, there's a week between Christmas and New Year's. So I had to quickly get my shit together. Whereas I had time to work up that I'm going away, I'm leaving my house, leaving my friends and my family. I had a time to work up, you know, the courage. All of a sudden, I had to leave within 4 days, so I was able to just grab my shit and jump on a plane. Unfortunately, my brother was in Acapulco or something with his girlfriend, vacationing, so I didn't have a good chance to say goodbye to him. But I just jumped on the plane and split, you know. And once I got there, it was great. You know, it was like you know, on the plane I was kind of freaking out because I didn't know anybody in England. You know, I didn't know anybody. You know, what I was gonna do, how I was gonna survive. And on the plane, I started having these kind of anxieties of like getting hit by a car, or having to go to the hospital for some reason. You know, but once I got there, you know, I mean, the flight was like what, 12 hours, 14 hours. So I was able to get my courage up, and once I got there, it was cool. And so within that year, I was able to buy a ticket within the year by 6 months, you know, because of my connection. I was great. I met so many wonderful people and connections, and I joined the band. But I went within the whole year that I had the ticket for. I left January. By June, I was able to buy it back to LA. So I went back to LA and ran up to my friends and said, "Hey man, you gotta come. It's so cool. You know, man, you know, you're a good guitar player. Come on over." And he's saying, "Well, I'm working for the gas company and I don't think I can get time off." And so I finally kind of shut up. I tried to tell all my friends to come over and go for it, but I guess they didn't have the courage that I did. But, you know, like I said, I was originally going to go for 2 weeks. And, but, I mean, once I got there, you know, I didn't really speak to anybody for a month and a half. You know what I'm saying? I didn't drink at all when I went to England. I didn't drink, so I just went to the pubs and just listened to the bands and, you know, just checked out the scene. And I walked everywhere because I wanted to learn the city, and I just want to get on a bus and finally show up at some place that I didn't know. So I just just walked and just checked the whole place out. It was great. I mean, I loved England. I really loved England. Still do.
What was the biggest plus you got from your time in the UK, United Kingdom? What was the most advantageous about living in England?
Well, I guess the musicians I met some really wonderful people. My good friend Simon, I was living with Simon Phillips. Just wonderful people, you know, and it was a whole new culture for me. And it was the first time I was really away from home. You know, it taught me how to just try to be straight up with people, and they'll be straight up with you. I didn't carry any chips on my shoulders. I didn't think anybody owed me anything. I treated people the way I wanted them to treat me. So, you know, it kind of worked out. You know, really well. I just met some really wonderful people, and really kind of it was kind of historic because I mean, that country's so much older than Los Angeles is, so it really brought out something in me, and I really started going for the artistic vibe, and yeah, I just what can I say? The people, the just wonderful experiences. That's what I can say, and I still love it. I still visit sometimes, not as much as I did before. I lived there for a few years, a few years. And funny, when I learned to drink there, and now even when I get a little tipsy, you can tell because I kind of start talking in an English accent. But I loved England. It was great. Great.
Why did you come to France?
Why did I come to France? Well, I had been living in England, and then I went back to LA, and I got kind of bored again. Ran into some friends, but I hung out there for a while and ran a restaurant and all that stuff. Then I got kind of bored, and I came back to England and stayed for a while. Then I came over for a holiday, and actually, while in LA, I met a girl, French girl, and she gave me her address. So once I got back to England, I said, I got in touch with her and said, hey, I want to come to France for a weekend or something. She says, yeah, come on, you can stay at my place. And so I arrived on my birthday, which is the 14th of July. It's their national holiday, Bastille Day. And there was fireworks and firecrackers and everything going on. It was like the city was just like partying. So I just dug it. I just kind of was able to kind of hang out here, and also I started playing in a bar. Well, actually, when I stayed with my friend, I stayed at her place for about 3-4 days, and then finally she said, I've got a gig down in the south of France, so you got to do something else. And then, so I was able to, it was kind of a little hard, but it was interesting, kind of finding other places to play. But I dug it, but I dug it, so I went back to England and got my stuff and came back to Paris. And like I said, I was able to play in a bar every Saturday, Sunday, and Monday, and that's how I started learning how to really sing, because before I couldn't sing my own songs. I had to use other singers to sing my songs, and some of them on the serious songs, they were a little, they seemed a little embarrassed that they seemed a little embarrassed because people were paying so much attention to them, listening to the words and the music, that they do something stupid like shove the microphone in their mouth or something, just to kind of like be kind of Jack the Lad or whatever. So I'm like going, what's he doing, So once I got to Paris, I started singing my own songs, and it was cool because after 6 months, 8 months, the waiters start saying, your voice is getting better, you are singing much better, I like your voice. So I always thought I had a nice voice, but it wasn't developed. One time in Los Angeles, I went to the beach where all along the boardwalk people were playing and everything, and I sort of found a nice place in the front of a hotel, an old hotel, and then an arc with steps leading up to the arc, and you sat there and your voice kind of echoed, so I liked the sound of my voice. So I'd look down, I didn't know what to play, so I'd play a song and start singing, and then I look up, and there are all these people standing there, and I got really nervous again, so I went back down going, what do I play, la, la, la. And I just kind of ummed and awed for about 20 minutes or something, and then I looked back up, and there was only one guy standing there, everybody had moved on. And the guy took my picture, and then he said, I like your voice. And then he walked away. So, I always knew that I had some sort of quality in my voice, but I was always singing flat or sharp. I didn't stay in tune, I was wavering. So playing this at this bar every weekend, I was able to kind of develop my my craft, I guess, and that was nice. was nice. Not to mention meeting a lot of nice French musicians there too. So that's why I came to Paris.
Where did you get your flamboyance? Not really flamboyance, but you're not the norm.
Well, I don't know. I mean, maybe it came from my mom. She was a kind of a clothes horse. She really liked to dress, and yeah, she liked to dress, and she loved clothes. And I remember when I was a little kid, she used to get in her red pajamas and her red bedroom and say, "Chelsea, take a picture of me," and then she'd go in the pink bathroom with her pink robe on and I used to take a picture of her there, and she was really like, I mean, I love my mom. She was really, she's beautiful, and she had a flair. And my aunt told me that they used to work, my aunt's a doctor, and my mom used to be a nurse. She works for a bank now. And the reason my aunt said that my mom stopped nursing to work for a bank was that she didn't like to wear the same thing every day. And then one time a lady came to their house, and my mom was teaching her some stuff about the banking business. And she was talking to me one time. She goes, "You know what? I worked with your mom for 5 years, and I never saw her wear the same thing twice." So I guess that's where I kind of get my flamboyance from. I also, I love Bowie. I loved, I love Jimmy also. I like to do something. It's all theater. It's really you can't just get up there and sing your songs. You can't just kind of sit in front of the camera and do an interview. You got to do something a little strange. So. Yeah, that's kind of where I got my flamboyance from. So, well.
What are your ideas for a live show? Let's say, if you were given a chance to play Nice a second time, how would it be different than the time that you did play?
Well, I would be more prepared. After Nice, I bought my band suits. We got suits, and I said, "Hey, listen, if you want to make money, you're gonna have to look money," And so it was kind of cool because they played better. They seemed to play better. And not everybody can wear a suit. There's a certain way. You can't slouch your shoulders. You have to have an air about you, and luckily all the guys they don't look like a horse in a suit or a monkey in a suit. They really look good, and the fact that they had their suits, and I wanted it to kind of look like old jazz, like old bebop, Dizzy Gillespie, Miles in the '60s. But once they had their suits, they started playing much. I don't know, it was more classy. It was more of a sheen on the thing. So we had the suits. We did a photo session with masks on, and I really like that, because okay, suits, everybody can do suits. Jazz bands do suits all the time, gospel groups. But if the mask throws a little kind of a twist in it, and I'm kind of into twist, and just to. I do a lot of things for reaction, try to get people's reaction for certain things, and that's what I would do different. I would plan it more. Nice, the last time they said I was going to play for 90 minutes, and then after an hour, they said, "Okay, this is the last song." So I had planned on a 90-minute show, and we were just getting out of the slow part into something, and then they said, "This is the last song." So I would have planned it much different. I would have planned it for an hour show anyway, even if they wanted more. So I think it's better to leave them wanting something. It's better to leave the table a little bit hungry or a little bit wanting more than stuffed running through the bathroom to do God knows what. So that's what I would have done differently at Nice. But I hope I get the chance again or someplace that's equivalent to it.
The musicians in your band, what do you think of them?
they're great cats. They're really good. People say that we really get on together, get on good together because we seem like we enjoy each other's company, which we do, and we respect each other. You know, Fabien, the saxophone player. I remember I met him. I did a Fête de la Musique in Paris, and a friend of mine invited me to his rehearsal studio. And behind the door, I kept on hearing this saxophone going. And I said, "Man, you know, why don't we? Who's that sax player? You know?" So he said, "Well, I'll ask him to do the show." You know, and I was doing Beatles reggae songs from Beatles, and he came along and he really dug it, and it was really cool. So I made that connection with him. You know, I find people that I really like and I get along with good, and I take everybody's number. Everybody I like, every musician I like, I take their number and we stay in touch. But then I when I'm getting ready to do something, I go try to get back in touch with the person. So I tried to find Fabien, the sax player, and I went back to that studio and left a note on the door. Fabien, call me, Chelsea. Nothing, you know, and I didn't live near that. I used to live in the neighborhood, but I didn't anymore, so I had to make a really long journey to the studio. So I was going there to leave another message, and we almost walked I got out of the metro, and we almost walked into each other on the street, and I went, "Hey!" And he said he was away on a vacation, so he was just about to call me, so that's good. Dominique, the bass player, he's amazing. I play bass, so some of the songs I kind of demo myself, and most of the songs are based around the bass. And Dominique is the kind of guy that's not too proud. He'll take my lines and he'll play them the way I want to. But I say embellish the way you want, because he's such an incredible bass player. Dominique's such an incredible bass player that he can embellish it, and at least the lines have groove to him, so he can enjoy them, you know, and he makes them his own. But someone told me one time, they said, "Man, you got a great bass player. He can play by himself, and it makes me want to dance just hearing him by himself." So I thought, great, man, with a drummer, saxophone player, my voice, guitar, of course, if he's playing, I hope the music makes them dance, you know. And we had another drummer before, and he played electronic drums. I thought it was going to be a kind of cool idea, but every row was like, and it was just kind of unreal, you know. It was kind of like unreal. So Fabien said, "Hey, man, we got to get a better drummer. We got to, we got to get a guy that was from real drums, real natural sounds." I said, "Well, I don't really know who." You know, he said, "Well, I've got a guy, a friend of mine." And he brought in Fabrice, our drummer now. And Fabrice is great because I used to hear him in the same rehearsal studio playing by himself too. He just drums to a click, and I always remembered hearing the drums behind the door also, you know. So once he got in, it was like. It was like, wow, it made it real, it made it natural, it made it real, it made it dance, it made it groove. He's kind of like a drummer / percussion player because, I like his ideas, and he's a good solid drummer, good tempo, because I guess he practices with loops. But he always adds a little bit something else in there, and that's really nice. And they all sing, which is great. And we all get along, and they always making jokes, and I find myself laughing anywhere. I don't really understand what they're saying when the French jokes sometimes, but Fabien has such an infectious laugh that I find myself laughing, and osmosis, you know. I mean, France, I don't really, I've been here a while, but I don't really speak the language, but I understand by osmosis, if you know what I mean. The vibe comes in, and someone says something to me, and I say, they're saying this. I think that they're saying that, and then when I say, "Excuse me, can you tell me what you're saying?" and I'm usually right. I'm usually maybe 75%, 80% of the time I'm right. So now I just go, okay. So they go, oh yeah, okay, Chelsea understands. But I love my musicians. I love them, and they're really cool. They're really cool. Yeah. Cut